Good morning. I'm about to lead a call to the 4 cardinal directions, and I'm going to ask you to please rise in body or spirit, and we'll be honoring the directions by facing each one as we go, starting in the east, and then moving south, west, and north. So if you could honor them by either turning your bodies or your attention in the general vicinity of those directions. Spirits, guardians, and ancestors of the east and the element of air, cracked open seeds of inspiration which remain tucked under the earth awaiting their appearance, sprouts that hold the potential of our next longings, gentle breezes and gusty winds which bring newness and change into our lives, winged ones who teach us about vision and of the big picture. Please join us, teach us, and celebrate with us this solstice tide. Spirits, guardians, and ancestors of the south and the element of fire, the spark that guides our bodies to enact the will of our minds and hearts, the burning in our bellies that brings our passions forward to manifest into action, embers and flames which burn away that which no longer serves us, and light which illuminates and brings consciousness into our lives. Please join us, guide us, and frolic with us this solstice tide. Spirits, guardians, and ancestors of the west and of the element of water, the creatures that teach us about diving deep only to emerge again, the sunsets and twilights that teach us to savor each last bit and to remind us all that things come to an end. Still waters, ripples, droplets, running rivers, downpours, lapping and crashing waves, and tsunamis that continually teach us that we are not always in control of the flow. The emotions, which are the currents of our lifeblood, please be with us, surround us, and play with us this solstice tide. Spirits, guardians, and ancestors of the north and the element of the earth, the fertile soil mixed with the gone before ones, which gives rise to all new life, mixing past and future, the creatures who teach us, if we'll listen, how to live in harmony with our planet, the rocks which hold steady, and the solid foundation that gives us the stability we need to learn to fly, the deep quiet, solace, and knowing of solitude. Please join us, hold us, and remind us this solstice tide. Spirits, guardians, and ancestors of each of our centers, please be with us and help us to bring our deepest, most authentic selves into this solstice tide and into our lives. Blessed be.
Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Ann Arbor, Michigan. Whether you're here in person, joining us on the live stream, or watching on demand at a later time, your presence is a gift. On this December day, as we lift up the first night of Hanukkah, celebrate the coming winter solstice, and welcome Santa into the sanctuary after the second service, I am reminded of our beloved community's commitment to diversity and inclusion in all that we do. The warmest of wishes to our Jewish siblings within and beyond our community as they light Hanukkah candles for the first of 8 nights to commemorate the miracle of the oil that paved the way for the rededication of their holy temple in Jerusalem. To all of you, we hope you have a joyous season of love, light, and miracles. My name is Stella Anderson, and I serve this congregation as the Director of Spiritual Growth and Development. I am joined this morning by a truly amazing group of collaborators, starting with the Reverend Manish Mishra-Marzetti, our Senior Minister, the Reverend Cassandra Hartley, our Minister of Community Life, Allison Halerz, our Pianist-in-Residence, and Mike Halerz, our Technology Consultant. With us also are guest musicians Ken Kozora and Paul VornHagen, who will help us build a soundscape using some animal noises and other nature sounds throughout the service. We also have song leaders Kel Anders and Olivia Bassett-Kennedy, our storyteller Odelia Florusbosch, and members of the 6th and 7th grade class. We also have a special staff recognition. And finally, a very special thank you to Holly Ferrise for calling in the directions. Thank you, Holly. If you are here in the sanctuary or joining the live stream for the first time, a warm welcome to you. For those of you who are watching online, feel free to introduce yourself in the chat. We hope that you feel safe, seen, and loved just as you are. After every service, our Welcome Ministries coordinator, Hannah Hotchkiss, and a team of volunteers host a newcomer welcome in the Jackson Chapel, which is just out these double doors on the right-hand side past the social hall. It's a wonderful opportunity to learn more about our community and find ways to get involved. Please also take a few moments to fill out our newcomer survey, which is available on our website at uuaa.org/newcomersurvey. We are so glad you're here for this special multi-generational Sunday worship service. And now I'm pleased to introduce Reverend Cassandra Hartley, who will lead us in our staff recognition.
Good morning. When I talk to other people about our UUAA community, there are so many things that I can brag about and do. One of those things is our incredible professional nursery and preschool staff. We are so lucky to have all of these teachers. But this morning, I want to celebrate one teacher in particular, Erin Dickenson. So I'm going to invite Erin to come up and join me. As many of you know, on weekdays, Erin is a beloved professional child care provider and parapro in the wider Ann Arbor community. And that would be enough, of course, but somehow every Sunday, she also finds the energy to bring 110% to her role as our lead preschool teacher here at UUAA. This year marks her 13th year on staff as the lead preschool teacher, but actually her time with us and doing childcare has gone back many years. We were estimating 17 roughly. So needless to say, a recognition of her long tenure here is very overdue. Over the years, I've been honored to know Erin as a parent, a colleague, and a friend. As a parent and friend, I was so moved by how loving and supportive Erin was and has continued to be of me and my children. She took the time to learn about my son's disabilities, checked in with me regularly, and made sure that she adapted her classroom so they could have the best experience possible. Of course, Erin didn't just support my children. She treats every child with deep compassion and respect. As a colleague, I've seen firsthand what a calm, nurturing, joyful presence she has in the classroom. The children love her, and they are always engaged. Some of my favorite memories from when I led the Spiritual Growth and Development program were the times that Erin and I would stand in her classroom after second service and talk. I always learned so much from her as she explained how she had expertly worked through a challenging situation that day, or she shared her latest creative idea for improving the curriculum or the classroom. Even when the COVID shutdown happened, Erin's passion and enthusiasm couldn't be stopped. When children's in-person classes were canceled, she immediately embraced Zoom classes and found fun ways to keep little ones engaged, even online. I could go on and on for a long time, but of course, these are just my experiences. I know many of you can share your own stories of the ways that Erin has touched your lives and the lives of your children. I hope you'll take some time after service to find her or email her and share some of those stories. But right now, on behalf of the entire congregation, I want to present a special gift to you, Erin. It's very heavy, so I'm not going to make her hold it this
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Please join me. Thank you. Thank you all.
There is a scene in one of my favorite comedies, Parks and Recreation. Does anyone know that show? Which I highly recommend. That I weirdly kept coming back to as I thought about how to honor Yule, the ancient name for the winter solstice. Tom Haverford and his business partner, Jean-Ralphio Saperstein, are planning a memorial event and trying to choose the right color for the memorial ribbons out of a set of swatches. Another character notes with confusion that they all look black, to which Tom responds, "Maybe to the layman, Jerry. Obsidian, onyx, midnight, lost soul, rolling blackout, sleeping panther, and void by Armani." It's a very funny scene, and those names are incredible. But I was struck by the unintentionally profound insight that it offers, that there are infinite shades of black. It's a deep, rich, and powerful spectrum. The darkness is complex. It's full of layers, mystery, and magic, and it changes from moment to moment. Our human tendency to fear the hidden corners of the dark has led to centuries of people trying desperately to overcome it with candles and fire and electricity and all manner of technological innovations. Historically, Yule is a time to celebrate because it marks the moment when the sun slowly begins to return, freeing us from our never-ending quest to illuminate the darkness. Some of our modern seasonal holidays, like our modern version of Christmas, include rituals adapted from pagan traditions to strengthen the light as the wheel of the year turns and the sun is symbolically reborn. German Christians in the 17th century adapted the Yule log by putting lit candles on indoor trees, and eventually those candles were replaced by the strings of lights that we use today. I do take comfort knowing that even as we face a long winter, the light is on its way back. But there are so many reasons to be grateful for the darkness that is here now, for the gifts it offers us, beyond that it makes us better appreciate the light. For those of us without visual impairments, who rely heavily on our sense of sight as we navigate the world, the darkness provides an opportunity to sharpen our other senses. My ears perk up and notice the harmonious soundscapes of the world when I take a late walk, especially on a moonless night. The darkness serves to accentuate the aroma of a wood-burning campfire, or a wood-burning stove or a campfire, the smell of pine needles on a festive Christmas tree, or the crisp night air. When I'm lying in the dark, I am much more aware of the feel of the blanket on my limbs, the cold of the pillow on my cheek, and the weight of my body against the mattress. The long winter nights, awash in darkness, remind us to slow down, to rest, to appreciate simplicity and stillness. And darkness can inspire our imaginations as our minds seek to construct something tangible within the unknowable. Consider the magic that happens when we close our eyes, the patterns and colors and complexities that many of us experience. And don't our dreams take place mostly in the dark? The dark is a beautiful, mysterious, wondrous, infinitely vast place. A place. It is a place. Do not fear it. Do not run from it. Embrace it for all that it brings to us and our understanding of what it means to be human. As Liz James of Mirth and Dignity at the UU Hysterical Society, which I also highly recommend, she writes, "Spring comes slowly. Change seeps in, and it's never large at first. And so we sit, knowing that the soft curl of the dark holds us in peace and rest, and sometimes struggle. We sit knowing we are lights to one another and to ourselves. We sit knowing that far from extinguishing the candle flame, the darkness makes its light more beautiful. We sit knowing all of those things, and also knowing that this is going to take time. It's supposed to take time, which is why I think that we celebrate now, because it's a long journey ahead, and when the journey is long, we go together. May it be so. And now I am delighted to invite members of the 6th and 7th grade class to lead us in our chalice lighting and covenant.
Hi, everyone. I'm KT, one of the teachers for 6th and 7th. We have about half of our group here today. We have a teacher, Ginny, Rhiannon, Adele, Eva, Zola, Abigail, and another teacher, Eric.
In honoring the winter solstice and its sacred place in so many faith traditions throughout history, we live into our commitment to UU principles and sources. This morning, we're not just connecting across generations within the sanctuary, but also across congregations and geography. This chalice, which is the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, connects us even further. Each week, people all over the world begin their time together by lighting a chalice, just as we do. Through this flame and through our practice of gathering together, we're connected to people who have gathered across many generations, back to the earliest days of our tradition.
This morning, members of our 6th and 7th grade class are here to light our chalice as we provide an update on what we've been up to this month. For more than 10 years, our middle schoolers have volunteered to assist food gatherers and Ann Arbor's 107.1 at their annual Rockin' for the Hungry food drive.
On December 3rd, students... Do you guys want to come to the mic? On December 3rd, students and teachers took turns outside the front doors of Kroger's in Westgate, soliciting food and cash donations to help hungry families in Washtenaw County. I am proud to report that $8,500 were raised during our shift, which is equal to 51,000 meals, for not including non-perishable food donations or online cash donations during our time slot.
Yes, let's give them a big congratulations.
As we say each year, we were freezing for a reason, and it reminds us all of what it means to put our love into action.
And now, as our class lights our chalice, I invite those of you watching from home to light your own chalice, and if you wish, share your location in the chat as we say these words together. We light this chalice for the light of truth. We light this chalice for the warmth of love. We light this chalice for the energy of action. We light this chalice for the harmony of peace.
Another way that we begin our time together is by reciting the words of our covenant. As UUs, we are not bound by a single creed, but by the promises we make to one another and about how we will be together as a faith community of seekers committed to transformative love and justice. So whether you are joining for the first time or whether you have these words memorized, please join me as we say together, The spirit of this church is love, and service is its law. This is our covenant with each other, to dwell together in peace, to search for truth in love, and to help one another.
Join us in singing our next song, Be Still and Know. Be still and know that day and night. Be still and know that dark and light are one holy circle. Be still and know that day and night. Be still and know that dark and light are one holy circle. Be still and know that day and night. Be still and know that day and night are one day and night. Be still and know that dark and light are one day and night. Be still and know that dark and light are one day and night. Be still and know that dark and light are one day and night. Be still and know that day and night. Be still and know that day and night. Be still and know that dark and light. Be still and know that day and night. Be still and know that day and night. Be still and know that day and night. Be still and know dark and light are one holy circle. Be still and know that day and night. Be still and know that dark and light are one holy circle.
On a particularly memorable Radiolab episode, that's a podcast, which I also highly recommend. I'm full of recommendations this morning. I listened to an astronaut share his experience as he worked to repair the Mir space station. Out in blackness of space, the contrast between light and dark is almost unimaginably extreme. Every 45 minutes, you plunge between absolute darkness on the night side of Earth and blazing light as the sun screams into view. Our story for all ages this morning tells of the experience of another astronaut and how the blackness of space helped him overcome his childhood fear of the dark. And to read for us, I am delighted to welcome Odelia Florusbosch to the podium.
The Darkest Dark, written by Chris Hadfield and Kate Fillion, illustrated by the Found Brothers. Chris was an astronaut, an important and very busy astronaut. When it was time to take a bath, he told his mother, "I'd love to, but I'm saving the planet from aliens." When it was time to get out of the bath and go to bed, he told his father, politely, because astronauts are always polite, "Sorry, no can do. I'm on my way to Mars." An astronaut's work is never done, so astronauts do not like to sleep. But their parents do. "You're a big boy now," said Chris's father. "You have to sleep in your own bed." And Chris tried, he really did, but his room was dark. Very, very dark. The kind of dark that attracts the worst sort of aliens. But his parents meant it. Chris was going to sleep in his own bed tonight. His mom and dad checked under his bed and in the closet and even in his underwear drawer. They declared the room 100% alien-free. They tucked Chris in, they turned on the nightlight, they even gave him a special bell to ring if he was nervous. They took away the bell. And then his father said something that worried Chris even more than the dark did. "One more peep, young man, and I'm afraid we'll all be too tired to go next door tomorrow." But tomorrow would be a special day, a very special day. Chris had to go next door. His life pretty much depended on it. So Chris stayed in his own bed, without a peep. It took a long time to fall asleep, but when he did, he had his favorite dream. He flew his spaceship all the way to the moon. The next day seemed to last forever, but finally, when the moon was shining over the lake and the summer wind was ruffling the leaves of the trees, Chris ran next door. The house was already full of people, all gathered around the TV, the only TV on the whole island. Chris found a spot where he could see through the crowd, and what he saw was astronauts, real live astronauts, on the actual faraway moon. They were wearing puffy white suits and jumping for joy, jumping so high because there was so much less gravity there. The grown-ups huddled around the TV were amazed. Their whole lives long, they'd never expected to see this sight. Even Chris, who had been to the moon just the night before, was amazed. He'd never really noticed how dark it was there. Outer space was the darkest dark ever. That night, Chris did a little experiment. He turned off all the lights in his room, even the nightlight. It was still dark. Very, very dark. There were still shadows that looked a little, well, alien. Nothing had changed. But Chris had changed. He'd seen that the darkness of the universe was so much bigger and deeper than the darkness in his room, but he was not afraid. He wanted to explore every corner of the night sky. For the first time, Chris could see the power and mystery and velvety black beauty of the dark. And, he realized, you're never really alone there. Your dreams are always with you, just waiting. Big dreams about the kind of person you want to be. Wonderful dreams about the life you will live. Dreams that can actually come true. The end.
As we continue our exploration of the solstice, I want to turn to animals, Because in earth-centered traditions, it's important to honor not just humans, who are also animals, but all the living beings on this planet that we share. The trees and the plants, the winged ones and the crawling ones, the four-legged and the more than four-legged. They are all our relatives. Right now, we are going to honor our animal friends. Perhaps what calls to you today is the wisdom of the owl as it waits and watches, or the playfulness of otter, or the perseverance of camel. Each animal brings its own gifts. So I invite you to take a moment to close your eyes if you want, and imagine an animal that you really connect with. Maybe it's one you've connected with your entire life, or maybe just one that you really calls to you in this moment. Take a moment to imagine your animal and think about its particular gifts. Think about what noises the animal makes and what movements they make as they move across the earth or swim through the waters or fly through the sky. Now I invite you to open your eyes again if you close them. And I hope you'll join me in bringing the animals that came to your mind to life right here, right now. If you're here in person, we invite you to come forward into the aisles or up front. You can even come on the chancel stairs. Or if you're joining us from home, you can type the name of your animal in the chat and embody your animal at home. But I'd love to see some of the movements and hear some of the sounds that our animal friends are making. So I invite all of us, including those with gray hair or no hair, to join us in this celebration of animals now. So come on forward. I invite anyone that wants to call out the name of your animal. Anyone want to call out the name of your animal? A bat. Oh, we got a bat over here. Panther? Panther, oh. Grizzly bear, awesome. Complete with the fur. What was that? A we got kangaroo, bat, cat. What was that? A wolf. Oh, we've got a wolf. In first service, we had a capybara. Anyone else? We've got lots of it. Oh. All right, thank you all so much. I'm going to ask you to return now to your human animal selves, but knowing that our animal friends are still with us in spirit, even if we can't hear or see them at this moment. And let's just all take a moment to thank each other for bringing these animals to each other. And now let us continue with our celebration of Solstice.
Good afternoon. So I'm going to invite us to transition from a world of imagination and invocation to one of tangible practicalities. I have a brief update to share with our community related to our annual fundraising drive, which is known as our Stewardship Drive. That process has been underway since October, and it officially closes on Tuesday. So our fundraising for the next calendar year, which is also our fiscal year, officially ends on Tuesday. On the positive side, over 54% of the responses that we've received to date are community members increasing their financial commitment to UUAA, to this beloved community that we all share and are collectively a part of. That is unheard of in fundraising circles, to have that high of a percentage be exclusively increases. So that is something that we should really absorb and take as a measure of pride. It is certainly a groundbreaking number for our community. Based on the numbers that we've received, the commitments we've received to date, we currently have 1.07 million in financial commitments for our next fiscal year. This is in a context in which, as we are aware, as we've heard from the pulpit in recent weeks, expenses are not static and have been increasing, and as such, 1.15 million is the number that we would need financially in order to continue the level of operations, staffing, and programming next year that we currently have this year. So we're not quite at that. After the campaign closes on Tuesday, and if you haven't had a chance yet, I'd strongly encourage you, please consider looking at your financial commitment closely. If you haven't had a chance to do that yet and would like to revise your financial commitment for the next fiscal year, you can do that by going to uuaa.org/revise. In addition, some of you, not all of us, but some of us may be looking to take advantage of those required mandatory distributions that go along with having an IRA, and those are required to happen by December 31st. You can make those as charitable gifts. And if you'd like any assistance in figuring out how to make a required distribution from an IRA a charitable gift to our community, our administrator, Deb Markham, would be absolutely able to help you and support you in that. Following the close of our fundraising efforts on Tuesday, we'll be preparing a budget and assessing programming and staffing that our community can afford for the next fiscal year, the next calendar year. We'll be announcing to the community shortly after New Year's, in the first couple of days of January, where we're at in our total fundraising and what programs and staffing we're able to afford for the next year. For now, we hold in our hearts a deep appreciation that all of who we are, all of what we contribute to this community, contributes directly to the profound difference that we make in one another's lives, in the ways that we show up as the expression of care and support, the expression of hope and possibility. I invite you to join together as we watch one of our last in a series of video testimonials of our community members sharing with one another, sharing with you, the difference that UUAA has made in each of their lives.
I came to UUAA with a huge vacuum for community in my life, and UUAA has filled it and overfilled it. Part of that is the choir, a huge part of it is the choir. I'm a member of the Chalice Singers, and I give back also by being one of the music ambassadors. Singing is so much a part of this congregation, and it's so much a part of me. I stand beside people who are now great friends and colleagues and keep me in tune, and it's an experience like none other. And then to look out on the congregation, to see them singing when we're doing hymns, to see them reacting when we're doing anthems, and to hear how it melds into the themes of the service, it is truly uplifting, and it's truly filled the sense of community that I needed.
I'm trans, and for most of my life, anyone older than me, especially people in further off generations, have been dangerous people to approach. It's been wonderful to be in a group that is so explicitly and even sometimes aggressively welcoming and supportive. It is impossible to miss. So I am confident that everyone in UUAA is generally a safe person to speak to, and it's been lovely to have older people in my life. It's been lovely to have them around to know that they are supportive.
So when I first came, I didn't know too many people. I joined a group that no longer exists, and then I joined a Chalice circle, and then I joined, I think, the Social Justice Council, and then Leadership Development, and 20s and 30s, and then the board. And with all of these, I've made tons of friends. I also have a really small family in town, so now I feel like I have dozens of grandparents, and it's wonderful. So I get a lot out of the community here.
My name's Diane. I live in Ohio. My daughter and grandson are in the choir, and felt lost, and my son suddenly passed 7.5 years ago, and I was so broken, and I didn't find the support I needed within my community. So we started coming up here maybe 2014, 15, and I don't get up every Sunday, but when I do, I always go back down that expressway feeling pieced together. The support I got here, not because I'm a grieving mother, but just by being who I am, meeting new people, seeing the acceptance of every age, every gender, every color, just the wholeness of it all. And that's why I come.
This church has changed my life. I am a different person since I joined almost 30 years ago. I've been on a journey. I have found my people. I have deepened my faith. I am more than happy to give of my time and my treasure. This church is central to my life.
This is the difference that our community routinely has in the lives of one another, in the lives of each of us here, and in our broader community, Washtenaw County and beyond. It's in support of that this morning's offering will be collected in just a moment, and the ushers will be invited to come down the aisles. If you're here with us in person, you are welcome to leave a check or cash gift in those baskets as they come around. Or if you're here in person or streaming today or later in the week, you may also go to uuaa.org/giving and offer a financial donation there. You may also text UUAA to 73256. This morning's offerings will now be gratefully received. As the ushers bring forth today's collection, I'd invite our gathered community here to rise in body or spirit as you're comfortably able. And let us turn to our familiar words of dedication. Would you join your hearts and your voices as we say together, to the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives, and these our offerings. Thank you. And I'd invite you to remain standing as you're comfortably able. Turn to hymn 235 in your gray hymnals. We're going to join together in singing Deck the Halls.
In ancient times, solstice was celebrated by making a lot of noise or building bonfires to drive out evil spirits. Then people would often jump over the fire or a cauldron as a symbol of blessing and fertility for the new year. Well, we don't have a cauldron or a fire to jump over, although that would be quite exciting. We can still make noise to drive out the fears and pain of the past, and we can dance as a symbol of our joy and gratitude for the abundance of a new year. So please, won't you join us again up here in the front or on the chancel steps, or join us from where you are in your seats, or please join us from home in your cozy living rooms. If you want to make noise, you can jingle the things that we passed out or that you picked up on your way in. You can jingle car keys, use your hands, or get really creative. And may we all dance in our hearts to celebrate the gifts of darkness, the gifts of winter, and the gifts of the returning light. Friends, please stay standing if you can and if you like. As we go from this place, we thank the directions and the animal spirits who joined us here today. Go if you must, stay if you will, hail and farewell.
As we celebrate the gifts of darkness, let us also share them with our circles of family and friends.
As we head out into the world, let us go in peace, holding courage in our hearts and with hope.
And as we say farewell today, we look forward to the next time we gather. Merry meet and merry part, and merry meet again.